Hello everybody, this is Mr. Rob and welcome back to episode number 12 of the Washington football team franchise. We are Madden NFL 22 for the PlayStation 5, and today the Washington football team has reached their bye week, actually gone past the bye week, but we don't have a game this episode, so I thought we'd take this time, maybe recap the league, see where the football team stand, maybe take a look at some of the roster moves we made, preview the next game, player stats, and all that good stuff. So if you're excited for this one, make sure you drop a like and subscribe down below, especially if you want more franchise content. We are very close to 500 subscribers. I would love you guys' support with that subscribe button. Now, this is a live comm episode, so I am talking as I go as we recap the league. So we'll start off by just looking at our current record. We sit 4-4 on the season. We are on a 2-game winning streak, which is nice, before we go to face the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But before we get into that, we are 4-4. It's about middle of the road. This would be the midway point of last year's season, but 17 games is as close as we're going to get. So I did sim the bye week, and the reason why I did go ahead and sim the bye week is I wanted to take a look at the scores from last week in this episode. So we'll take a look at some of the Week 9 scores. I will scroll through them momentarily. A couple of games you can already see jumping off. Green Bay losing to Kansas City in a shootout. We'll actually start with that one. Kansas City, let's see, wins 42-26 over the Packers. Mahomes and Rodgers about even stat lines. Edwards-Helaire had another touchdown on the ground. He's had a good season. A fullback getting in the end zone as well. A couple of 100-yard receivers for Green Bay. Randall Cobb and Devontae Adams, who had 2 touchdowns, and Demarcus Robinson had 2 touchdowns for Kansas City. Anything standing out defensively? It looks like Chris Jones had 2 sacks, and no quarterback was picked off in this game. Let's see, what else is interesting? Mac Jones beats the Panthers 38-21. Mac Jones has been on fire this season. 274, 3 touchdowns and a pick. In my opinion, he is the offensive rookie of the year. Sam Darnold looking like Sam Darnold. McCaffrey did find the end zone, so Damian Harris, Darnold, and Mac Jones. Another rushing touchdown for Jones. No receiver hit 100 yards, but Anderson, Aguilar, Henry, and White found the end zone. Goodson had 10 tackles. Judon had a sack and a half. So did Brian Burns had a sack, Godcho, and Bentley. And the interceptions were Jawan Bentley, Dante Jackson, and Jonathan Jones. And last game I want to take a look at, if they played, yes, is the Las Vegas Raiders. They lost to the Giants 21-20. We'll see the quarterbacks. Jones did serviceable, and Carr did serviceable as well. Nobody really stood out. Barkley had a $142. Talking about standing out, there it is on the ground with a touchdown. Peyton Barber had a touchdown. The reason why I wanted to check the Raiders scores, I want to see what Odell Beckham did. He only had 2 catches for 36 yards in his Raiders debut. Kind of like what he's been getting in Cleveland. Carter and Williams had a sack and nobody was picked off. So those are the scores for week number 9. We'll take a look at players of the week really fast. Go over to weekly. You see Aaron Rodgers got it, and Green Bay's lost to Kansas City. Joe Burrow had 4 touchdown passes for the Bengals. Okereke had a sack and interception for Indianapolis, and Steven Nelson had 2 picks for Philadelphia. So those are your players of the week. So now that we've simmed, let's go ahead and look at the standings, since we're about at the midway point of the season. You can see we are 4-4. And best team in the NFL, we have the Titans, the Bears, and the Patriots, all 8-1. Who would have thought those would be your best teams in the league? And the worst team is the Rams, who are 0-9. So it doesn't look like the Stafford experiment is working out. And even worse for them, that is actually the Lions pick. So the Lions are actually having a pretty solid season. Could be blessed with another high pick. By division, in the AFC North, the Ravens lead. They are 5-3, followed by the Steelers, who are 4-4. The South, we see the Titans 8-1. They have a 2-game lead over the Texans, who have been playing without Deshaun Watson, mind you. In the East, the Patriots lead, just like what used to be the status quo, and the Bills are the next closest team, 4-4. They start off 0-4, but they have rattled off 4 straight victories. In the West, it is the Chiefs 7-2. And the NFC side, the Bears lead the NFC North 8-1 over the 5-3 Lions. Can you tell me this division is not backwards? In the South, the Saints lead 6-2 over the Super Bowl champion Buccaneers by a game, followed by the Falcons. In the East, we see the Cowboys lead our division 6-2. They have a half-game lead over the Giants, and then we sit 4-4, followed by the Eagles, who are 2-7. And then out west, the Cardinals lead that division 6-3, followed by the pair of 500 team 49ers and Seahawks. So now that we've looked at the standings, let's go ahead and look at the player stats, shall we? We haven't taken a look at this all season. Now, before I do look at the player stats, some teams have played 9 games, some teams have played 8 games. I decided to send the bye week because after the bye week, half of the teams have played 9 games, half of the teams have played 8 games. So it's about as even as we can get in the middle of the season. Taking a look at our players first, Fitzpatrick, 2,500 yards, 12 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. Fitzpatrick he's been up or down. I was playing on a very accelerated, I think, snap count because even though 15-minute quarters with a 15-second runoff gives you NFL average plays per game, Madden on the sim goes a little bit below the NFL plays per game. So I took it down, this accelerated clock, and I think it worked pretty good in the Denver game. So we'll see if that plays a factor in the upcoming games. But Fitzpatrick has been okay. It's kind of what I expected from Fitzpatrick, maybe a little bit better. But I guess Fitzpatrick-ish. On the ground, it's been nothing but Antonio Gibson. He has been having a heck of a season. 872 yards, 7 touchdowns already on the ground. Definitely our breakout player of the season. Fitzpatrick also has a rushing touchdown. Remember, we did have Adrian Peterson for a couple games. I did cut Peterson last episode. So he's been a factor in the run game as well. You just don't see his stats. For receiving, this is actually the first time I've looked at this, and to not really my surprise, Logan Thomas is our leading receiver, 564 yards with a touchdown. I've loved having Logan Thomas. I think he's been a really good tight end for us this season. However, he hasn't been the main factor in the red zone. Adam Humphries has 3 touchdowns, 479 yards for him. And then behind him, Gibson, 57 catches, our leading reception for 453, has yet to find the end zone in the air. But surprisingly, Terry McLaurin, only 29 catches, 439 yards. That's not a bad stat line. He is on pace for over 1,000. He does lead our team with 3 touchdowns. But, I have been a very pass-heavy team because of the quarters and stuff. And I'd expect McLaurin to be a lot closer to this top. So he's been kind of having a down campaign. Then we have Cam Sims, 270 yards and a touchdown. He's kind of dropped a good bit of passes, though. The rookie Diami Brown out of North Carolina has a touchdown grab. Ricky Seals-Jones has 2. Our backup tight end, and McKissick found the air last episode. And then John Bates has 5 grabs. Blocking-wise, our best blockers, we haven't really done the best job. It looks like Cornelius Lucas, who doesn't even play every game. Well, actually, I guess he is a starting right tackle. I don't want him to start at right tackle, so let me change that, actually, at the end of this. But our starting right tackle, Cornelius Lucas, has been our worst player. He will get benched. Charles Leno, the other side, has not been very good as well, and he's actually a free agent after this year, so I'm probably going to let him walk, especially with his high salary demands. Scherf has been a little disappointing in the middle. Eric Flowers has been a lot of penalties, and our best player has probably been our center, Chase Rollier, but his offensive line needs work in the offseason. On the defensive side of things, Landon Collins leads our way with 56 tackles. Looking at sacks, Chase Young has 7.5 sacks. That is a quiet 7.5 sacks. To me, playing these games, I didn't know he had that many, but good for Chase Young. Ioannidis has 4. Allen has 3.5, but 14 tackles for a loss. He has been a menace in the run game. Montez Sweat, who's missed the past few games, has 3 sacks. Deron Payne 2. Bostic has 1, and then a pair of half sacks. On the interceptions, Kendall Fuller is our leading interception. We only have 5 interceptions. He has 2. Curl has 1. Collins has 1, and William Jackson has 1. And 3 of those came in our last game against the Broncos. We haven't done a good job at forcing turnovers. We have a couple forced fumbles, Landon Collins, the big hitter, and Chase Young with that strip sack against Teddy Bridgewater last week. So defensively, I think we need to do better, specifically in the middle of the field. That is your linebackers. I didn't really highlight them, but Yamin Davis, probably our best linebacker. If you remember last episode, fractured his shoulder blade. He is out for the season, so that is a big loss. He does have star dev, but our number 1 first-round pick is now out for the season. And Cole Holcomb, in my opinion, has not done that good, and neither has Kaliki Hudson, who will actually get more snaps now that, Yamin Davis is hurt. So that is it for our team. Let me go ahead and look at the league, but before I do that, let me get rid of this stupid hold to reorder glitch that has been a thing for too long in Madden, because Madden definitely pays attention to all their bugs. But we'll go back and look at the league leaders now. Starting off with the quarterbacks, we will sort it by yardage, and at the top is Pat Mahomes. I was ready to say Ryan Fitzpatrick, but it looks like he has 1 extra yard over Fitzpatrick. Then we have Fitzpatrick, Aaron Rodgers, Mac Jones is 4th in the league in passing yards, and then Matt Ryan. Keep in mind, remember, some teams have played 8 games, some teams have played 9 games. Passing touchdowns, Pat Mahomes and Justin Fields, the rookie, are tied with 23 apiece. Justin Fields is having a heck of a rookie year for Chicago. Looks like their future is definitely now. Rodgers has 21, and then Ryan and Brady round out the 20s. Interceptions, Tom Brady actually leads the league in interceptions, 12 interceptions. Is he starting to fall off that cliff that we've heard so much about? The other double-digit interceptions are Baker Mayfield with 10, Ben Roethlisberger with 10, and Sam Darnold with 10, who has been not good at all for Carolina. On the ground, your leading rusher is Derrick Henry, as he has played an extra game than Gibson. He has 965 and 6 scores. Gibson has 872 and 7 scores. Kamara has 831 and 7 scores. And then Elliott with 8, and so is Barkley. Rushing touchdown leaders, actually Edwards-Helaire and Austin Eckler with 12 rushing touchdowns apiece. That is incredible. On the receiving end, let's sort it by receptions first. Travis Kelce leads the league with receptions. We definitely helped in that game they played against us, followed by Randall Cobb and George Kittle. And then Antonio Gibson is 4th in the league. He's a running back. Yards-wise, Kittle leads with 717, followed by Randall Cobb with 719, followed by Cobb with 717. Kelce is 694. Allen Robinson is 694. Then the rookie Jamar Chase is leading all rookie receivers. As far as touchdowns, Randall Cobb has 9, along with Julio Jones. Then we see Jakeem Grant and Allen Robinson. Defensively, leading tackler in the league is Eric Wilson. Sacks, 13.5 sacks already for Khalil Mack. Good Lord, he's having himself a season. Grady Jarrett also has 11. Your interception leaders, 4 for Eric Wilson, 4 for Marshawn Lattimore, and 4 for Jabril Peppers. Looks like Eric Wilson's making a case already for Defensive Player of the Year. Forced fumbles, you have 2 for Jabril Peppers, 2 for Dante Hightower, and 2 for Nick Bosa. Kicking-wise, Dustin Hopkins has been pretty solid for us, only missed 1 kick. Is anybody perfect on the season? Butker is perfect, and so is Greg the Leg Zuerlein. Worst kickers, got Greg Joseph, 3 for 7. Yikes. On the return game, we're not going to really look at punting. We know Antonio Gibson has 2 return touchdowns. He's the only man with return touchdowns. And then the punting, has anybody returned a punt for a touchdown? Yes, Tyreek Hill has, and so has Tyler Lockett. So that does it for the player stats as we get towards the end of the episode. I do want to show you guys some of the players in the draft class. I've showed you guys the quarterbacks in the draft class, but I want to show you some of the other needs as we go along in the season. And I think our biggest need currently is linebackers. So we'll take a look at some of the linebackers starting at the left outside. You can see at the top of the board, Owen Pappoe sits at the top, a run stopper out of Auburn. Doesn't really fit our mold, so I'm not really going to target Pappoe. I like Brenton Cox Jr. out of Florida. I know he's late first round projected, but he has talent in mid-third. But those A-minuses, you can't ignore those A-minuses. So I do like Brenton Cox Jr. Don't think we'll use a first round pick on him, but if he does fall, I do like him. Probably my favorite linebacker, Brandon Smith on that left outside. A- pursuit, A- tackle, B play rec. Kind of smart. Maybe we can snag him in day 2. And then I kind of just always start with the scheme fits in order of who I'm scouting. Sam Williams, Jermaine Johnson. So nobody left outside linebackers stand out because I don't want a pass rushing linebacker. I want a coverage outside linebacker. At middle linebacker, the star is Christian Harris out of Alabama. He could be a great linebacker, 6'2", 232, A tackle, A- hit power, A- pursuit. Don't know how he is in coverage, but with those attributes, it's hard to ignore. Then we kind of go down the list. I looked at Edufuan Ulofosio out of Washington. A- pursuit, B block shed, B- play rec. I like when I see an A trait, especially with the old scouting system. I know it's a little easy to find good players as you scout for the diamond, but I like to kind of focus on the traits as well. So I thought that A stood out for me. I am sorry. Hopefully next Madden I can get on the new scouting updates. Just I wasn't willing to wait till October to start a franchise. Other ones stood out, Nate Landman. If you remember the Detroit Lions franchise, I did draft Nate Landman, so I like Landman in this game as well, but that's kind of a turnoff for me. I don't want to always have the same players, but he does have good hit power. And then when you move to outside linebacker, the first rounders, Drake Jackson out of USC. He is more of a pass rusher. He is a very solid pass rusher. Not sure if he's a 3-down linebacker, but once again, I'm not really looking for line depth. Nick Bonito out of Oklahoma has nice pursuit and power moves. And then I didn't scout Adam Anderson yet. Ventrell Miller, this is where I get into my pass coverage archetypes for our team. And he has that B-zone coverage, so that stands out for me. So I'm definitely interested in Ventrell Miller in day 2. Mike Rose, I remember I drafted him in Detroit as well. Didn't really do anything, more of a backup. He's got B-plus zone though, so I'm not going to ignore that again. DeMarvin Overshown out of Texas has B-plus pursuit, B-tackle, B-minus zone. Early 6 projected, but he's got late 4th round talent, so definitely somebody to put on the board as well. Zacoby McClain out of Auburn. I mean, he's a solid day 3 pick late, but not really something I'm going to look at. And then I did scout some of the corners, so you can see the corners also at the top of this class because our pass defense as a whole is very bad. And obviously the top corner in the class is Derek Stingley Jr. He is an amazing man corner. I'm assuming he is going to be a phenomenal player. 6'1" out of LSU reminds me of Patrick Peterson when he came out. So I assume he's definitely going to go top 5, maybe even top 3. So I don't think we have a chance at Stingley. Khair Elam, also another first-round corner. He's a better zone coverage corner out of Florida. And then you have Ahmad Garner out of Cincinnati, who is B-press, B-minus catching, B-minus man coverage. So a bit more of a slot corner. And then other first-round corner, Andrew Booth out of Clemson, who is a little bit underwhelming for a first-round projection. You can see some of the other corners. No really corners stand out. Probably my favorite non-first round corner is Sevyn Banks out of Ohio State. I like his top 3 traits look great to me. I don't know why he's a mid-4th round talent. That's why I sometimes don't like scouting just based off the diamond, because there was no diamond. I'd look at these 3 top traits and I'd be like, wow, this is a really good corner. This could be a solid day 2 pick. So I did throw Sevyn Banks on my board as well. And then you can take a look at some of the other corners. Nobody really jumping off the board for me. I did put Jacoby DeBrant just because of the same reason. His top 2 are his coverage. If he is an undrafted player, I probably want to scoop him up. And that does it for all that I've really scouted. So as we get towards the end of the episode, I want to preview the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for next episode, but also did make a couple of roster moves. So I will show you those real quickly after last episode. Remember, Yamin Davis went out on IR. So I went ahead and signed Torrey McTyer back, like I said I would. And Manti Te'o, yes, just Manti Te'o, not his imaginary girlfriend, but Manti Te'o will fold out roster spot. He was the best zone coverage linebacker, middle linebacker on the market. So I went ahead and signed him. We released Troy Akpe, Bryant Mitchell from the practice squad and sent Casey Toohill down to the practice squad now that Montez Sweat will be healthy next game. But that does it for all of the recap stuff. Now we'll just go ahead and take a look at the Buccaneers, who sit 5-3 on the season. It's going to be a tough matchup. I don't care if they're 5-3. They're going to be one of the toughest teams we play. Here's a look at their roster. Tom Brady is still their quarterback at 44 years old, trying to chase another ring. I know he leads the league in interceptions, but those are still some scary ratings. Running back, Ronald Jones, and then at wide receiver, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown. I mean, how do you stop this trio? Mike Evans, dominant in his own right, 6'5", going to body you out. Chris Godwin got a little bit more speed. He also will destroy you. And then Antonio Brown, who at one point was the best receiver in the league. He's, not what he used to be, but he's still very shifty, still a very good, solid route runner who will catch the football. So it's going to be hard to stop them. Then you got Rob Gronkowski at tight end, still one of the better tight ends in the league. A pretty solid offensive line anchored by Ali Marpet, who at only 28 years old is already one of the best left guards in the league. Ryan Jensen at center, another solid lineman, Alex Kappa, and then Tristan Wirfs, already a superstar at 22 years old. There's just nowhere where this team is not loaded. On the defensive side, William Golston left in, Ndamukong Suh at right end. Then you got Vita Vea plugging up the middle. Shaq Barrett rushing you off of the edge, who has been quietly one of the best pass rushers in the past few years. It's going to be hard to block him. We saw what Von Miller just did to us. Levante David anchors that middle, somebody I'd love to have in the middle of my football team, the way that our linebackers have covered. And they also have Devin White, one of the fastest linebackers. Jason Pierre-Paul on the other side. And then the secondary, probably where they're the weakest, but that's because they have so much pressure up front. Carlton Davis Jr., Jamel Dean, And then Antoine Whitfield at free safety, Jordan Whitehead at strong safety. Ryan Suckup, Go Cox, is kicking for them, and then Bradley Pinion, Boo Tigers, is their punter. So definitely a lot of work cut out for us next episode, but I'm already kind of crossing the 20-minute mark, so I'll kind of cut it here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this little league recap. I'll probably do one more before the season ends, and then we'll hopefully be pushing towards the playoffs. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you drop a like and subscribe down below, especially if you want more franchise content. This is Mr. Rob, and I'll see you in the next one.